Good morning, everybody. It is a sweltering 29 degrees. Very windy. I think the wind chill says it feels like 10 or something like that. I read an article last night on what the hell that actually means. Like, if it feels like 10, then isn't it 10? No. It has to do with the water, the moisture in our skin, and how it reacts to the heat, and more stuff too. But once I saw that, I was like, okay, I know enough, and I fell asleep. But yes, that is the exciting thing that I learned most recently. We are driving into Gettysburg. I have taken basically, I decided leading into Christmas, probably for about a week now. What is today? No, since Sunday a week ago. I said, you know what? Everybody's busy. Everybody's doing holiday stuff. I got holiday stuff to do. I'm going to take advantage of that and rest. Not do any work. And I did not realize how thoroughly exhausted I was until I stopped. And wow. And I'm still not rested because it's a lot of unwinding to do, but man, Shevitz, I'll tell you, there is something to stopping on the end of the week and resting. Even God had to do it, right? He had to rest, what was it, the 7th day, I think. And he rested 6 days to build the universe. 7th day, he's like, I gotta take a break. Now granted, that's a lot harder of a task than what I do, but it's still, and I don't do that. I do it either until I collapse or until all the other bullshit in life gets in the way, like the holidays. So here we are. But I am kind of chomping at the bit to get back to work. I'm going in today just for a little bit. I have a couple things I need to send off to people that are on the work computer. So I'll be doing that. But otherwise, Hi, good morning to you there, Jeffrey. Almost afternoon, yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? Morning, Matt. Marie, hola. Valerie, good morning. It is, it's a clear, well, sort of clear. The sun's out, but it is quite cold and super windy. A tree fell down across the road, down the street from our house. The wind last night, we're on top of a mountain, so, you get some good wind up there. And I swear at one point I thought the roof was going to come flying off and a tree was going to fall on the house. And just a nightmare. So I called a tree cutter today, and I was like, there's a couple trees that I want you to come take a look at because I might want them taken down. Plus I need firewood. So, yeah. MC, good morning. Jeff says, the week between Christmas and New Year's is my favorite period of time to just take off and recharge. Yeah, I guess it's a good time to do that, right? When else are you going to do it? Because nobody's doing anything. Work-wise, everybody, well, let's put it off till after the new year. Nobody wants to, so I guess, for me, the way my mind works, if nobody else is able to work, then I'm free to take off. But if there's a possibility that other people are working and I might need to work with them or whatever, then I'm never really off. And that's just how it goes. Morning reading aid, how are you? Lost 4 trees at home yesterday. Now it's snowing an inch an hour. Fun times. Oh my God. I don't know how you live up there, man. I do not know how you do it. Who's Wendy? Wendy has. Oh, there you go. Joe B said it. I'm sorry, no, Joe B said who's Wendy. It was Ty who said what I was just about to say. Wendy has stormy eyes. But I think her name is Wendy in that song, isn't it? Because there's not much going on in between her ears. I just manifested this morning drive stream. Woohoo. Oh, well, there you go, Wonder Monkey. Well done. Reading Aid says, wind here in Northern Virginia crazy too. Still today. Yeah. Thank you, Matt, for the coffee. Mucho appreciato. A lot of people don't know that I'm multilingual, as I just demonstrated there. John B says, morning, Matt. 1 to 3 feet of snow next for me in western New York. Ugh. I think, I don't know, I haven't looked at the forecast, but I think from what I hear, we're missing the snow. We're just getting the wind and the cold. So, you know, thank God for small miracles, I guess. Could be worse. But it's funny because my body's like feeling like it's February, late February, but it's not even January. Almost, but not quite. We've been in the throes of winter since November. I pointed out to Cindy the other day, I'm like, we're only like, at the time, 8 days into the official, actual start of winter. But it's been winter for over a month. Dun, dun, dun. Dustin says, just ordered 2 bags of little ground top. Sorry, I just belched a little bit. I hope it wasn't that loud. Good. Just ordered 2 bags of little ground top this morning. Very wise man, and you probably ordered it at addressinggettysburg.com/cafe, which is where you can get little ground top, I believe, in at least the lower 48, if not all 50 states. I'll have to find out about that. Tad, unfortunately, no. You cannot use snow as an excuse to not come in. Unless you get blown away off the road, which is a possibility. Although, you know, I think your car's heavy enough. Ty says, do we hate Grant more because it's summer there while the thermometer reads which is heat here? Do we hate Grant? No, you know, no, I don't hate Grant for his ancestors making a wise decision to move to the warm part. Well, of course, it's summer down there, but he never, even in winter, it's warm there because he's near the equator. So, you know, I would never begrudge a man 2 things, 3 things: the love of a fine woman, a living, and a wise decision that puts him in a better place than I. I just want to know how he did it. What we can hate Grant about is that he rubs it in our face. That's what we can hate Grant about. And for those of you who are maybe new to all this and wondering who Grant is, we're not talking about Ulysses. We're talking about one of our listeners in Australia, who is a fine chap with a wonderful sense of humor. But once in a while, he likes to rub it in our face that it's always warm where he lives. Valerie had her cup of Little Ground Top this morning. I ran out, so I have to pick a bag up today. Hopefully there are some. There weren't the other day when I was in there. Let's see. Marie says hi to Tad. Tad becoming a big star in the Addressing Gettysburg community, as signified by the fact that he wasn't at our Christmas party because he went to L.A. We're talking about Louisiana. No, he went to Los Angeles. So did you get a count on how many people gifted Patron? No, I did not. There were a few that I did notice that came in. I would imagine not a lot. The commercials take a while to like sink in with people. When we would run ads for other people, you know, I'd ask them every month, like, are you getting anything yet? And the first month, it was usually no. Second month, maybe one. By the third month, then they started to notice something, and then it would go up from there. So but we do. But actually, so I can't tell if some of the new members were either gifting it themselves, like in other words, they were just joining on their own, but they maybe saw the commercial. I have a whole list of people that I need to send a welcome email to, and I always ask, like, how did you find us? What made you decide to join? And so we'll see if they mention the commercial. I think because the commercial is humorous, people don't think it's actually a legitimate commercial for something. Although Wonder Monkey, I heard somebody gifted you the, and now you're out of the running for freeloader of the year, but you now are potentially able to get listener of the year. Tim Day says, "Hey everybody, gotta run. Enjoy the Wendy ride." Who the F is Wendy? Matt says, "Be sure to like, share, and subscribe." Yes, I never say that, and you absolutely should. Ty says, "Yeah, I didn't want to sound like it's warm where U.S. Grant is now." Yeah, I almost went there. Did Tad and his buddy enjoy watching Wicked in L.A.? Yes, that's a great question. How did you like watching Wicked in L.A., Tad? I know you're a big Cynthia Aroma fan, or whatever her name is. You have a poster of her on your wall. Reading says, "The commercial put me over the top, and that's why I finally joined Patreon after being a freeloader for a long while." Oh, okay. Good to know. I did not know that. Wundermonkey says, "You said I already won freeloader of the year, and I won nothing." Well, not officially. I said you have a pretty good chance, but Barbara, and the funny thing is, no, I'm not going to tell you what I was thinking of giving as a prize. Under promise and over deliver. But I won't say. I'll leave it a surprise for whoever gets freeloader of the year. Barbara and you are, neck and neck. The commercial drove my mother-in-law nuts too. Okay, you got to explain that. Nuts in what way? To the point where she got you the membership, or how? Please tell us. And by the way, that's what we promised at the end. We'll run it till it gets annoying. and then we'll run it until you join. And that's something we stand by. Donald, thank you for the super chat. He says, on a 7-day cruise and enjoying listening to your live stream. 7-day cruise, you lucky dog. Where are you? Please tell me you're like in the Caribbean and not Alaska. An Alaskan cruise would be nice in the summer. I guess that's when people do that. Jeff Pasnick says, freeloader of the year gets an empty bag of little ground top. That's a great idea. Actually, you should get like a whole lot of you should almost get gifts. Like, I'll give you a free membership to Patreon on a link that expired a year ago. I'll give you a free bag of little ground top that's empty. So it'll smell like little ground top, but it'll never, it's a tease, right? It's like putting a piece of raw meat in front of a chained lion 3 feet beyond his reach. Yes, she said, now stop posting that Gettysburg thing. Well, I can't, because we need to get at least 1,000 patrons by the end of the year. We're up to 540, I think. Now there's 700 total, but 200 or so of those are free followers. So we need to get quite a few more. So that ad's going to run a bit longer. We might make a couple of new ones. Depends. Wait until somebody gets an idea. Ty says 7 days. It was only supposed to be a 3-hour tour. Tomorrow be in Georgetown, Caymans. Ah, very nice. Opening a bank account. Kevin Milcarrick is saying, come on, Barbara, get on here. I know. Where is Barbara? 19 Cats from Hell says, you getting wicked wind out in Gettysburg? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Last night, it was worse. I heard a report that the hurricane force winds in some areas. It certainly sounded like, it reminded me of Hurricane Sandy. Is that like the wind, seemed like it was more up in the trees than down on the ground, although sometimes it would swoop down. But for the most part, it was just this never-ending hum, a low hum, a roar of the wind whistling through the branches and all the trees. Again, we live on a mountain on one side of a valley where there's another mountain. Obviously, that's why it's a valley. And it, it's nothing but trees. And so it's this constant drone in the background. Zeppelin says, hello, Matthew. Hello, Zeppelin. How are you? Ken, good morning. Wonder Monkey said, she told me to stop. In my defense, she doesn't have a whole lot of friends on her Facebook, so my stuff probably clogs her feed up pretty good. Not me. Got you. Well, that's, let's see. What else could I get her to buy to get you to stop posting things? Let me think about that. Oh, we do want to get a Sprinter van for something. I think we found one. It's like $8,000. It's used though, and so God knows how long it'll last. But maybe we'll start doing a spot for a Sprinter van. Zeppelin sent a gift of $2,026. Thank you very much. That'll certainly help us with a lot of things we have coming up this year. Have you heard about Adam the Woo at all? No, I haven't. Now I'm afraid that I said that out loud because I don't know what it is. Wonder Monkey says, no Barbara. I'm just saying, a good freeloader would have been in here by now. That's true, but she'll blame the system. She'll watch this later, and then I'll get a comment about how I'm right about what I'm about to say, which is that she didn't get a notification until the very end. I guarantee you she'll be in. She will be in. But, you know. Kevin says, possible blizzard conditions with up to 2 feet new snow and high wind around here today. Oh, boy. I have a feeling this is going to be a real winter, because it already is. And that's my guess. The hell? All right, Zeppelin now sent a puppy playing an old-fashioned video game. "19 Cats says, absolutely scary. Amazed power stayed on." Yeah, I got 2 new oil lanterns yesterday. Barn lanterns, they call them. They hang on the wall. And put them on either side of the wood stove hearth area. And, you know, all my oil lamps strategically placed around the house. Really looking forward to a good power outage. You know, the neighbors all told us, they said, you know, power goes out when we have bad winter storms. Not that I want one, because we got a lot of food that could spoil. And the asshole guy that we bought the house from had a beautiful whole house generator there that he snatched up and sold before he put the house on the market, according to the neighbors, which pisses me off because those things are not cheap at all. Tyler says, to the guy who lost his left arm and leg, you do not have to worry, he is all right. Well, good. Who is that? Who are you talking about? I don't know, but I'm glad to hear he's all right. I can't wait to see what creative new commercial you devise. Well, I have to say that commercial was a team effort. It was actually Tim Day's initial concept. It was to take place in the office, and it's just a simple conversation. And of course, I can't do anything simply. So then me and Mike and Court and Tad, I believe, all got together, and we took this idea. Oh no, first I wrote a very basic outline where it goes from, you know, sitting in the office talking to, no, that's not good enough. I have to make it demented and stupid. So then I took it out of the office because Court, for some reason, has to play the dad and Mikey B is the confused teenage son. And what better way to do that than to turn it into a Massengill commercial where they're walking along, instead of the shoreline or the surf on a beach, our beautiful battlefield here. And so that's what we did. And then, so we wrote it out with the lines, and then we tweaked as we went. Like, you know, that was just something to get us out on the field, and then we were out on the field and, you know, kind of changed it as we went along or whatever. We had fun doing it. Zeppelin says he was a fellow YouTuber. Who, the guy with no arm and a leg or something like that? That was his name? Kevin, okay, so Kevin's Team Barbara for Best of the Freeloaders, because he says Barbara is the best of us freeloaders. It's probably true. She's the queen of the freeloader, Queen Bee. She's the Beyonce of freeloaders. Ty says, since you mentioned being in the valley, all I can hear in my head is Jolly Green Giant jingle. Thanks, bro. You're very welcome. No, I can't get it out of my... Oh, you son of a... A cold, windy night is a good excuse to build a fire and cuddle with a good-looking lady, says Matt Gillespie. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. I got a good draft up my chimney. That didn't sound right. Last night, I had a good fire roaring. Spood, yes. Yes. My tongue got in the way of my eye tooth and I couldn't see what I was saying. Yep, been an early and fierce winter here so far. Much worse 60 miles north off east end of Lake Ontario. Oh boy. Where I'm told we've had 50 feet so far this season. Oh my God. Can we seriously have a discussion, people? Raise your hand if you live in a ridiculously cold and wintry place. Just raise your hand by show of hands. Okay, good. Now, oh, more coming in. All right, well, good. So a good deal of you. What is it that makes you stay? Now, I'm a person who leaves where I don't like, okay? So, in other words, didn't like New Jersey, loved first Virginia, but then here's where I felt I could figure out a way to make a living. And so I moved here. Now, I wish I was more interested in something like, the Alamo or, I don't know, anything down where it's warm all year long or temperate in the winter. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is. So this is my happy medium. And really, frankly, for the first 5 or 6 years of living here, the winters have been pretty temperate. And I was really glad that we had finally achieved our goal of global warming. And, now we are in a good position. But it turned out it was just part of the natural cycle. And now we're getting back to winter being winter, apparently, for the last couple of years. And my eyes are looking south. They're looking south. And I'm looking, can I really, A, be that far away from my family? B, that's a whole new, different way of life down there. Could I handle that? I'll miss greenery, right? But what makes you stay in your ridiculously cold, worse than here place? Do you love the winter? And that's okay. Some people hate themselves so much that they love the winter. I get that. But how about is it just because your family's there, you've got roots there, you're maybe a business that it's not transferable, or even if it is, it doesn't mean it's gonna work. Maybe it's a family business that's been there for generations. What the hell is it that keeps us in these cold places? Is it Stockholm syndrome of some sort, right? It's just kind of laziness? Is it laziness? Or is it I think this is the best place in the world to live? I'm very curious to know, because I think I can understand settling somewhere north if you take a wooden ship across the sea and you have a harrowing journey, and this is where you land, right? Quickest, easiest thing to get to, I guess. And this is where you land, and it's just let's just stay here. The winter's on. Let's stay. We'll figure out what to do next year. What I don't understand is next year comes and you go, now let's stay here. Let's not go down south. Let's not see what, maybe there's warmer climes somewhere else. No. Let's stay here and we'll call it New England, or we'll call it whatever. I don't understand. I would die in the effort to find somewhere warm, I guess is my point. And these people, obviously they're risk takers. They came across the ocean in a wooden toy ship. So, come on. 60 Seconds says, good morning in Gettysburg for a quick trip and ate at the Dobbin House Tavern for the first time. Loved it. Oh, you've never ate there before. Sorry. You've never ate there before. Ty Webb says, Court played Ward to Mike's Beaver. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Court is the modern day Ward Cleaver. Marie, thank you for the coffee. Thank you and Matt, for the kind coffees. I think I'll actually put that towards a bag of Little Ground Top today rather than a cup of coffee. I've been banging points at Bantam Roasters. Somebody pointed out, you shouldn't have to do that since you have the Little Ground Top thing. You should get a free cup of coffee. And I go, you know what? I'm going to talk about that when it comes time to renegotiate the contract. But anyway, I've been banking points. I was trying to see, how many points I can rack up. And then in January, I'm going to start going through them. I'm going to see how long it takes to go through them. I have like $89 in points, which apparently is a record. They have a loyalty program there at Bantam. And maybe you can go in there and buy a bunch of stuff and compete with me and see who could beat 89. I think, obviously the year's over in a couple days. I think I'll probably get to 90 after my cup of coffee today. Oh, no, actually, wait, I get free bags of Little Ground Top. I don't have to pay for that. So, yeah, I'll buy a cup of coffee. Kevin said, it was interesting chat with you by messaging the other day about the superstars. Yes. The landscape of celebrities in the Gettysburg world, or Civil War world. I find the conversation about the Harvest of Death photos to be fascinating. The Proton Gun Marksman says, when you had Mr. Edelman on recently, your colleague and him were playing a game when the names were being said one after another. Yes, that was the great and fun game, Grumble Jones. Rules are on the website. How is that game played exactly? Thank you in advance. Well, it's actually a test for the listeners to see how quickly you catch on to how the game is played. It's a brilliant game that we learned from somebody else regarding something completely different, not Civil War things, but it is a thing that the CIA uses with new candidates to see if they can detect patterns or recognize patterns. And once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. But the whole idea is they don't tell you the rules. They just have you watch somebody who gets the rules play it, and they, and for sometimes it takes weeks for candidates to be able to finally figure out what it is. So, yeah, it is one of those interesting little things there that we like to do. We did it last year when Gary came on the show. Mike and I played it, and Gary was just floored, just enamored with how we played, and it was a lot of fun. Gary loves Grumble Jones. Oh, 50 inches, not 50 feet. Sorry, I have a glare on my thing here. But 60 miles north, it's 400 inches annually, average. No thanks. Yeah, no thank you. Marie says, PA born and bred, I would miss the seasons. Okay, Marie stays because she would miss it. Jeff Pasnick says, it was family that holds me in Western New York. It was family that holds me in Western New York. I'm getting over it, though. I need season laws without the seasonal depression. Yeah, I don't know what laws are, but yes, that is what it really is for me. You feel I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I'm sick. Like I feel like my body is dying, and there's no amount of vitamin D that I can take. There's no amount of exercise I can do. There's no amount of eating well that I can do that can counteract that. I just feel like I am like what I imagine dying of cancer to feel like, and I'm not making light of dying of cancer. Like that's in my imagination. That's the way I feel in the wintertime with the seasonal affected bullshit. And it makes me angry. I get crotchety. I get cranky. I don't believe that anything is possible. Anything good is possible in my life anymore. I can't see the good that's around me in my life. And it's horrible. It's absolutely fucking horrible. And with what I do for a living, this is the time of year to be making preparations for the rest of the year. But the problem is I can't think that way. I can't act that way without dragging myself by the collar during the winter. But then when the spring comes and that warmth comes and the hours change, I feel like I'm alive again. Like I feel like I came out of some kind of mental hibernation, and it's an awful way to be. So I think I said this to Cindy a couple of weeks ago. I said, I think the reason why I'm still very immature in many ways is because mentally I've only developed half my life, because the other half of my life, my brain has been shut off. Like it takes everything I have to be able to focus or anything during the winter. It's awful. And I was talking about this with my dad the other day, and I said, I always wondered, like, if we were born and raised in Arizona or Texas or San Diego or somewhere that it's always nice and warm, like how productive I would have been sooner in my life. And even if I would have had this seasonal affective disorder, because it's still winter in those areas. The temperature's warmer, but the sun is still at that stupid angle. Maybe not as bad as up here, but like it's still at an angle, so it's not like summer. So maybe I still would have been miserable down there. Who knows? Maybe I'm miserable no matter what, right? Maybe that's what it is. Let's get the Jeb Stuart Memorial here. All right, there we go. There it is. Abraham Lincoln back now. It's actually bears. You will immediately mauled by bears if you attempt to leave. We have stationed the bears all around the exits. Great. That is fantastic. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna ignore you. Okay. Matt Gillespie says it's cold and wintry here, but nothing like New York, Minnesota, etc. Yeah, New York. Yeah, I don't know how those people can survive. Yeah, I don't want to go to Florida, right? Because all the Yankees are down there now. I mean, they've always gone down there, but Florida's. It's a shame because I think some of the things, the no income tax, all that stuff is certainly alluring. The weather, but the problem is you're going to invite Yankees, and Yankees are going to turn it into Yankeedom. So, yeah, I want to move somewhere that is actually like a place that I can respect, and that I will adopt that way of living when in Rome, if you will. And Matt Gillespie says, I stay here because of family, low taxes, low expensive, and great gun laws. There you go. Ken Wyman says, I like owning a motorcycle that I can only ride for 4 months. Florida has all that without freezing. I don't know what I was saying there. I'm sorry. I don't know what you were referring to. 19 cats from hell. Rickety, unseaworthy Mayflower blown off course via from Virginia landed in Maine. You're right. So why wouldn't you go and try to find Virginia? Right? After, okay, guys, the winter got blown across. Now let's go south. It's got to be down there somewhere. I know, it's easier said than done. They didn't have 95 at that time. 60-second, thanks for another drive, Matt. Starting to learn the alleys and trying to not to be a Toron when visiting. Very good, 60-second. Very good. Wundermonke says, when is there going to be an Addressing Gettysburg donut at Devil's Den Donuts? Oh, I don't know. I'm working on a couple of other things right now that are far more unhealthier. Jeff Pasnick says, I think if I was to move, I want to know the people of where I'd be moving. I don't want to move to a place with a bunch of a-holes. I need like-minded folks in a welcoming environment. Yeah, of course. You don't just randomly, you don't like throw a dart at a map and then go. Because, yeah, that could be frightening. 19 Cats hates the darkness of winter too. Marie says, I enjoy the coziness. Okay. All right, Marie. Fine. Marie, I'll tell her you said hi. Thank you. Fishing with Kedra, watching from Mississippi. There you go. There's another warm place, I'm sure, right? What's it like in the winter in Mississippi? Wundermonke says to Ken, we'll have to get together for Bike Week next year and take a special ride through the mountains just for Matt. We all are armed. How's the weather in Mississippi? Maria wants to know that too. Okay, right. 19 Cats says productive. You'd be a surfer dude, Matt. No, not really. I don't like the feeling of the salt on my skin, and I don't like the sand in places I didn't know you could put sand. Zania says, I would like to live in Europe or the US during the winter and back in Canada during the summer. Yeah. I never thought of another country. That's interesting. Still no Babs, Wonder Monkey. I wasn't specifically referring to the Pilgrims because there were plenty of people after that came over on these rickety wooden ships and landed in the north and stayed in the north. And I know I'm being very simplistic and idealistic, thinking that you could just up and leave and go find somewhere warm. But probably the people that couldn't handle it jumped off cliffs. Still no Babs. She's probably busy freeloading off some other history podcast. That's very possible. It's very possible. On one of those other things, better have something on what? One of those other things better have something to do with MDD. Okay, there you go. You corrected yourself. Kevin says, drive almost done and still no Babra. I'm worried. Maybe she's taking time off too. You know, it's not easy being a freeloader. It is a lot of work, and I don't think people give them enough credit to constantly and happily enjoy the fruits of another's labor for free. That's exhausting. The amount of joy, the dopamine hit that gives somebody. Why do you think the South fought so hard to maintain slavery? Because of the dopamine hit of controlling the work of another person. And freeloaders need rest too, guys. Jeff Pasnick says, what I'm hearing is all us Gettys nerds, TM, trademark, thank you, to get together and start a community in the perfect climate. That's not a bad idea. Sounds like a plan, Wonder Monkey. Go inside and get warm. Good afternoon, 6Q. I hope you're feeling better. Ken, after that, we put some chains on our bike tires and go to Jeff Pasnick so you can experience riding the lake effect snow. That sounds fun. Hashtag 2026Q, ladies and gentlemen. This will be the year of Michael 6 Questions Lens as he waits for the first quarter, basically, to come to an end before he gets to take his oral exam for his license, which we all know he's going to get. And then he will be a new favorite guest on Addressing Gettysburg. Oh, Barbara does babysitting. Okay, well, she might be babysitting then. Either way, she'll watch this later. Hello, Barbara. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a lovely Christmas. And I'm going to go get some coffee. You guys have a great day. I'll see you in a bit. Tad, if you're still watching, I'll be at the office in a couple minutes.